Hey YouTube, I had a discussion about bicycle gear ratios with a friend of mine over the weekend, and you guys might find this interesting. I have a website called berkshiresports.org, and if you go there and then click on bicycling, bicycle gear ratio calculator, I have a little tool here that helps you compare gearing between different bicycles. Back in the early 2000s, I had a Cannondale F700 which had a triple chainring up front with 22, 32, 42 for the front chainrings and 1134 9-speed cassette for the rear. And had Hutchinson Mosquito 2.0s, which I'm sure I replaced with some kind of 2.1-inch tire. So the bike had 26-inch wheels. I'm sure I replaced those Hutchinsons with something 2.1 inch. Had a triple chainring. Went 22, 32, 44. And a 9-speed 1134 cassette. That bike had a low gear of 17 gear inches, which is a number I want to kind of remember because that is pretty ideal for me. Had a high gear of 105, which correlates to a maximum speed of 28 miles an hour at 90 RPMs. And you can see all the different gear ratios down there, but that's not all that interesting. At some point in time, the bike manufacturers quit making high-end bikes with triple chainrings and went to 2 chainrings. And I have a giant XTC Advanced 27.5 3, and it has a 2438 1136 10 speed. If I go back here and I want to compare that bike, and it's 27.5 inch. I have 2.4 inch tires on it, and it has 2 chainrings. 2438 was right, and 10 speed 1136. So that is geared a little bit higher. I don't have as low a low gear, and I can tell. I really can tell that it's harder to climb. And my maximum speed has dropped a little bit, down from 28 to 26. So that's kind of not great. And what I just recently did was I got a Sunrace 1140 cassette. And it actually worked fine with my Shimano XT rear derailleur. Now my low gear is back down to 17, which is perfect. I really like gearing in that range. And my max speed is 26 still, which isn't great, but it's sufficient. Now, I had a giant Anthem Advanced SX, which was a very expensive bike at $5,000, and it was my first one-buy. It had a 32 tooth in front and a 1042 11 speed in the rear. One chainring in front that was a 32 11 speed 1042 in the rear. So that had a low end of 21 compared to 17, which was noticeably harder. And my top end speed had decreased down to 24. Now, I ended up replacing this with a 28 tooth middle chainring, and that only brought that down to 19. I still was like looking for one more gear. Every time I'd be climbing a hill, I'd be using my thumb to shift one more time, and there was no more gearing left. So I switched my middle chainring from 28 down to 26, and then I was down to the magic 17, and I was very happy until I hit a dirt road and had to go more than 19 miles an hour. So that kind of sucked, and I ended up getting rid of that bike. I'm back on, all my bikes are 2-by drivetrains. So I was down in North Carolina and broke my bike and had to rent a bike, and I rented a Santa Cruz Hightower with the XO1 Plus kit, which gives you a 30-tooth front chainring and a 1050 cassette. So if I look at that, that was a 27.5 plus bike. So it had 2.8 inch tires on it, had a 30 in front and SRAM Eagle in the rear. And so that had a 17 low, which is my sweet spot, and 23 mile an hour high speed, which isn't great, but it's better than 19, which I had on my other bike. So I was very happy with this bike, and I do think the SRAM Eagle is a great option, but it is very expensive, and to convert your bike over to B12 speed would require spending at least $1,300, $1,400. So my next bike, I'm probably going to get SRAM Eagle on it. And maybe not this gold one, because the gold one costs an absolute fortune. The cassette alone costs $420. It's crazy. Either that or my next bike's going to have a 2x drivetrain and use the Sun Race, which is even more reasonably priced. Can you believe that? Choices, huh? Let's see what this weighs. 415 grams. And this $420 one weighs 367 grams. That's tough. Tough to swallow. Anyway, I thought you might be interested in that. I am going to keep this in mind that 17 is my magic number for a low gear. I'd really like to be able to go in the mid-20s at 90 RPMs for some of the dirt roads that I ride on and some of the smoother, faster downhill trails. So I hope this helps somebody, and thanks for watching.